All right, so in this video, I got a pair of sneakers that I saw on Adidas website that I was very interested in seeing because I didn't even know they released. This is the Adidas 40 Forward version 3, as you could see right here. I have the two previous versions right here that I'm going to go ahead and compare in this video. But I wanted to give you guys kind of a general overview of this first, and then we'll get into the comparison. This is the latest version, though, of the 40 Forward, as I mentioned, and the midsole specifically is what makes this shoe pretty cool because it has this crazy lattice design in this 3D printed midsole that is larger than a lot of the other ones. Shout out to Adidas for actually sending this pair over to me. I actually requested it when I saw it on their website, and kudos to them for actually sending this over. If you guys want to buy a pair of them, link in the description over to Adidas website. But if you guys want to get the previous version, they do have those on the website for a pretty deep discount as of right now, at least of me recording this video. So check the links in the description. It'll take you over to Adidas website. If you guys do that, it lets Adidas know that you guys saw my video. It gives me a little bit of a kickback, but more importantly, it lets them know that you guys rock with the channel, and greatly appreciate it. Help support me and my family directly when you do that. So just a general overview right out of the box. It is an all white colorway, a triple white colorway. The midsole is kind of an off-white cream, and then the outsole is kind of an off-white cream as well. But it is like a triple white. And honestly, I was like, oh man, I don't want an all-white shoe, but I was wearing these out and about, and they look really nice on feet. In my opinion, there is little hits of gray on them as well, so it's not, I guess, completely all white, but it's the only option as of me recording this video. They don't have any other colorways available, but if you check the link in the description, maybe they'll have more on their website by the time you guys watch this video. If you guys have tried any of the other Adidas 40 Forward technology, this one, in my opinion, is the most comfortable one by far. The overall fit, I would say, is true to size. They are a little bit snug across the top of the shoe, however, but true to size is the right fit. I'm going to go ahead and transition to the other camera view and give you guys a detailed look and comparison between the other previous models. All right, so here's a visual look at the three different models for those that have not seen them side by side. The first, the second, and then now the third, as you could see here. And notice that the midsole is pretty much exactly the same. So throwing that out there, the midsoles are the same. The outsole is the same on the second and the third version. The first version is a little bit different, as you can see, and apologize for the yuck on the bottom of this one. I wore these out and about a long time ago and I never washed them out. Terrible, I tell you. Anyways, the outsoles and the midsoles are both the same on V2 and V3. So again, these two are exactly the same from what I could tell. Also, just a small difference again, minus the up close. I don't even want to show you them up close, but you could see the differences here a little bit. And the traction pattern is a little bit bigger, and I don't know, just a little bit different. And here's a quick look at the uppers, as you could see here. So black, and then you have a couple different materials here with some fused layers, and then you definitely have a couple different layers on the third version as well. While I have all of them out as well, I want to go ahead and weigh them and see which is the heaviest. So the V1 is 11.8. The V2 is 13, so just a little bit heavier. And the V3 is 12.6. So the first version is actually the lightest with 11.8. So here's a look at the V3, and as I mentioned, the outsole, midsole is the same, but they did some significant changes on the upper just to retool it and make it a little bit more functional, and I'll get into some of those changes right now. The first thing is just the fact that they did some dual mesh upper here. They have this like fish wire mesh over top of a standard mesh, and I don't know the actual term for the fish wire mesh. I just call it that because it's what it looks like to me. But something that is kind of cool also, you can see it actually has a fused underlay underneath the fish wire. So you have the prime knit material in the tongue, but as you get to the lower part of the tongue, it's more mesh here, and that extends all the way through the toe box of the shoe as well, which makes that a really nice option for those people looking for a more breathable pair. Definitely different than the previous versions. As you can see, the first version was all prime knit for the entire thing. Not as much structure here. But I like the actual overall fit of the first version. It was like looser, not as much performance driven in my opinion, but they kind of tailored that down. And the third version I think is probably the best for performance. The second version also had some interesting things here. It had prime knit, as you can see here, and then it had some fused material in the middle of the shoe, giving a little bit of a different look, and that kind of extends through the midfoot as well. And then you have the fused on 3 stripes on the sides, which is something that you have for all 3 versions. Now, as I mentioned, the third version is probably the most breathable out of the 3 because of the cutouts. And then obviously that mesh is like a looser gauge than the other 2. So obviously more breathability here, which is a big plus for those people looking for it. And again, the fused underlay is pretty nice on this one as well. Although I do question the durability of that underneath this like fish wire mesh, but I don't know if you guys have had durability issues with this style of mesh, with the fish wire mesh from Nike or Adidas or any other brands. Leave a comment in the comment section and let me know, because I'm not wearing these as my everyday, all day pair of sneakers. These aren't my 24/7 shoes, but for those people that buy these with the intent to wear that, I'm curious how the durability holds up. The next big change on the third version that I noticed is the lockdown for the laces is pretty cool. So you can see my fingers through here, as this section right here is actually separate for the first time on a pair of the 40 forwards. This is kind of nice, so it creates kind of like a cage effect on the shoe versus like the all knit upper where the tongue is knit, like the sock-like fit sort of thing. You have that on this shoe, but it's done in a little bit of a different way, which I actually think that this is a little bit of an improvement because it does fit a little bit more relaxed than the second version. The second version was definitely by far the hardest one to get on. The first version has similar vibes to the third. However, with the addition of the outside cage here, it provides extra lockdown for those people that need it. So where the first version was actually lacking a little bit of structure, the third version takes and has kind of like the best of both worlds, where it's a little bit more structure than the first, but it's not as rigid as the second. I will say it is a little bit more difficult to get on my feet than like a pair that has just a regular tongue, because obviously it is a sock-like fit, so you have to kind of put them on like socks, similar to like the Adidas Ultra Boost lights and whatnot. Now, comparatively, these are a little bit softer on feet in my opinion than the Adidas Ultra Boost light, but you guys can argue over that in the comment section. I do feel like the 40 forward midsoles are just softer in general. The Adidas Ultra Boost light is still a tremendously great shoe though, just not as soft, I don't think, as the 40 forwards. But this one is soft with the idea of forward motion. As you can see when I'm wearing them, the columns collapse and then they kind of just move with your foot as you're moving forward. So I love the overall design and concept of what they're doing here. And for those people wondering, the narrowness of the shoe is not so bad either. They're pretty wide, which makes it pretty nice to be able to wear these from a casual perspective as well. Some of the like crazy performance running shoes are so narrow that you really feel like you're going to topple because they're made just to go forward. And this one is actually made to go forward, but you can actually move side to side just fine. And also with that sock-like fit, it does make it so these are a little bit more stable on feet because it's a little bit snugger in this section. So by default, it makes you have a little bit more stability when you're walking around in the shoes, especially when you wear your laces loose like I do. Now transitioning to this updated heel of the shoe, they actually did some kind of cool things on here as well. You can see it's kind of like an updated version from the previous two. All of them sit pretty high, but I like again what they did with this third version. So the first version, a little bit less structure, as I mentioned, pretty flimsy. Overall, it looked nice and it was a prime knit upper, but it did lack structure. The second version decided to make it like all structure, and it's definitely more reinforced here. And you do have like a nice little padding through the top, but it goes up so extremely high. It's kind of not really needed in my opinion. The third version, I think, is the best version of it, and it's kind of like a hybrid between the other two. So you have a similar collar like the second version, however, it's lower cut, which makes more sense to me, but you still maintain that height on the back, which actually is a functional pull tab now to put on your foot. And I like it. I think that it makes the most logical functional sense out of the other two. So kudos to the design team that actually made that small adjustment. Again, when you're looking at them side by side, it's a small difference, but it's a big difference on foot. Lack of structure, oversized horn, and now you have structure with an actual pull tab. I think they did a really smart move with adjusting that, and that was one of the cool things that I noticed when I was comparing them side by side. The other thing that they changed on the third version that I think is a very welcome change is some people didn't like this hard plastic on the top of the second version. It doesn't make a lot of sense to do that really for the lockdown. The first version really didn't have any of that. It had kind of a fuse section for the laces and then a couple wire ropes to just lock down the shoe. Very simple. The second version used some fused material, and then the top one had these weird plastic things that just were kind of unnecessary, added to the weight, but also, like, I don't know, some people might have found it uncomfortable when you're leaning inwards and stuff. Like this plastic might be digging into your ankles. So they changed it with the third version, and I like this one probably the best of the three. Just again, because of the separated cage that they have right here, you're able to use this for lockdown. It makes it a little bit more snug for those people that need it. But now you have the loops here that make your way up the shoe, and no extra plastic. So I think that that was also a big W for the design of the shoe, and just making it more functional and more simplistic. And again, sometimes you need that for a shoe to function properly, and just to make small little tweaks to make the third version that much better. I would expect from the first version to the third version that they'd have functional changes that actually make the shoe more usable, and I think that they made some really, really nice changes to make that happen. My only complaint about the model though in general is the fact that I wish it had a detached tongue. I just personally prefer like a detached tongue and a non-sock like fit, because I just have a little bit of a wider foot, and this part right here, just I don't like this section like being too tight on my foot. So like an example, the Ultra Boost Light Cold Ready version is by far my favorite one. I've been wearing those like day in and day out now because it's wintertime, so they're super warm, but also they have a detached tongue. I can literally just slip my foot in them and go. And I really wish that they will have a 40 forward version similar to that, where you can just slip your foot in and go and it's relaxed. That's my only real ask, is I wish they could create that. Now obviously if they do that, they're taking the technological approach to a product and then making it more lifestyle, which is what I like, but that's not the intent of the product, and I do realize that. But I do feel like there's more people that are looking for a good casual shoe than necessarily a running shoe, maybe one that you can run in as well, but I feel like those small little tweaks would be a very, very welcome adjustment. Anyways, those are the major changes that I found on on the shoe. I really like the product. I think it looks great. I think that they made some, again, small adjustments to the shoe to make it that much better from the previous. The second version was probably my least favorite version because it was just so incredibly snug across the top. Plus these little plastic things here just didn't make too much logical sense. The first version I actually really liked the overall comfort on. It was the most relaxed fit out of the three. Again, lacking structure for some, but I actually really liked the overall fit of the first version. And the material looked kind of cool as well. The third version, though, was a welcome addition to the collection. And I'm happy that they went ahead and changed things up a little bit and again made it just more functional and more wearable, and kudos to the design team that did that. Hopefully we'll see more colors of these drop, and if you guys are interested in buying these, again, link in the description. Full price is $200 for right now. When they go on sale, I'll be posting them over on Twitter and Instagram and stuff, and on my website, Collective Kicks, always in the description of the video. But follow me over on Twitter, primarily if you're looking for deals on sneakers. I always post them following my reviews, because anytime there's a valuable pair that I think is cool that goes on sale, I like to share that with you guys. This is a pair that's going to be available right now for close to half price, at least as of me recording this video. Really, really good deal on this one. Definitely worth a cop for the price, but I do like the third version better. If you'd rather wait, then there is a good option for that one as well. But anyways, thanks for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Hopefully we'll see you back on the channel for some more content soon. All right, peace, guys.